Coming up on AgweekTV, another round of payments is on the way to farmers hurt by the tariff war. We'll get reaction to the new farm bill. Beef, it's what's for the holidays, but how do you select and cook beef to perfection? And part one of our look back at the 1980s farm crisis. Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Michelle Rook. This week, President Trump confirmed a second payment for farmers under USDA's Market Facilitation Program. Soybean farmers were pleased the president delivered the trade aid he promised. They say they'd rather get their income from the market, but the payment will help offset the drop in prices since China cut off U.S. soybean exports.
Those are very important. A lot of guys in my area, they stored their beans hoping for a better price, so they're going to need the extra income.
Soybean farmers who apply under MFP by January 15th and receive payments on half their 2018 production will now get a payment of $1.65 per bushel on their entire harvested crop. Total payments for other commodities include a penny per bushel on corn, 14 cents on wheat, $8 per hog, and 14 cents per hundredweight on milk. The first trade aid payments were welcome in major soybean producing states like Nebraska, so a second payment will be a big shot in the arm. University of Nebraska's Brad Lubin says the first payment made a significant impact on the state's farmers and overall economy.
It's $300 million plus just on that first round of payments. Not all of that maybe will come in 18. Some of it will probably roll over into 19.
He says another $300 million will certainly help out cash flow for Nebraska's farmers and help after the fallout from the trade war. The 2018 Agriculture Improvement Act will also help farmers, and passage was a miracle, at least according to House Ag Committee ranking member Collin Peterson. He says even though it was passed by a wide margin in both chambers, they came close to losing the bill. The House was forced to vote down an amendment tied to the Farm Bill rules to limit U.S. involvement in Yemen. Otherwise, the bill would have faced another delay.
I think what would have happened is it would have got all balled up and just shut the government down, build the wall, all this other stuff. We'd have never got a farm bill, so we dodged another bullet.
With the president signing the bill, Peterson will now be charged with implementation as the next Ag Committee chair.
Yeah, implementation is going to take a while. And there are controversies in the bill, and so there'll be people that'll be trying to pushing it this way and that.
He says implementation could take up to a year. The chair of the Senate Ag Committee was also pleased with the outcome of the Farm Bill and its historical passage. Spencer Chase reports from Washington.
Capitol Hill got a dose of bipartisanship with the recent passage of the 2018 Farm Bill. Negotiators finalized a piece of legislation that received landslide House and Senate votes. Senate Ag Committee Chair Pat Roberts says it's a reflection of how farm policy should work.
Both set records, and it just shows you what you can do if you keep working at it and get a bipartisan bill.
Roberts says producer feedback was critical in drafting the new bill.
We did exactly what farmers have told us, all regions, all crops, everywhere.
Negotiators finalized debates over conservation and commodity provisions as well as House-authored nutrition language. Roberts says ultimately, producer interests ruled the day.
You could be arguing for a specific policy that for a particular title of the bill that you really believed in and that you were opposed to anything that was on the table. And again, you had to come to some agreement so you could get there from here so we could provide that certainty and predictability.
Reporting for AgweekTV, Spencer Chase, AgriPulse.
USD also proposed a rule to tighten SNAP job requirements for people classified as able-bodied adults without dependents. Ag Secretary Perdue says it will save $15 billion over 10 years and gave the president comfort to sign the bill on Thursday. Conservation groups generally supported the conservation title in the new Farm Bill. Those we talked to say they welcome the retention of EQIP and the conservation stewardship programs, which looked like they might be cut.
I'm happy that the CSP program is being funded as part of the Farm Bill. It's important to farms like mine to have these programs in place. We're doing a lot of these programs anyway. but having some financial backing is important.
They might be moving some of the CSP stuff to the EQIP, which is fine as long as we still have the importance of making sure that conservation is still intact.
The bill also increases CRP acreage by 3 million acres, but included some reforms of rental rates.
There was a desire to go above the 24 million acre cap that was in place, so the acreage has been increased to 27 million, but it was done at a zero-sum budget. So as a result, the payment per acre will reduce.
The SHIP program was also included. This 3 to 5 year set-aside is expected to be more market responsive. Coming up on AgweekTV, we'll look back at the cause of the 80s farm crisis and how it changed agriculture.
Stein Seed Company is home to one of the most prolific, highest-yielding corn and soybean breeding programs in the world. When it comes to research, yield is what matters most. With the largest private soybean breeding program in the U.S. and the industry's most aggressive corn research, Stein is in a class of its own when it comes to developing new, higher-performing seed. Choose genetics. Choose results. Give Shane Kylo a call at 701-866-9864 to learn what Stein Seed can do for your operation.
Small or large, Superior Grain Equipment has a storage solution for you with a wide variety of bin options and accessories, along with site planning and superior customer service. Plus, from top to bottom, we offer the industry's best bins and warranties to protect your products and your grain storage investment. Get superior quality, protection, and reliability with generations of experience and dependability. Make the superior choice today with Superior Grain Equipment.
With the all-new GreenFit system from Reichhardt, plug and play is finally a reality when using John Deere AutoTrack guidance with existing new products like the Challenger 1000 series or all-new C-Series row gators from Butler Machinery. GreenFit is an authorized navigation interface that utilizes existing John Deere AutoTrack guidance system to steer most Challenger tractors and sprayers. GreenFit eliminates the worry of learning and converting to a new steering system when buying an industry-leading Challenger from Butler Machinery. Learn more about GreenFit at butlermachinery.com.
United Lease and Finance would like to wish everyone happy holidays and thank you for your business this past year, and we look forward to working with you in 2019. We're happy to work with our clients' lease transactions from inception to close. With leasing, you get flexible payment plans, improved cash flow, great rates, and easy terms, and leasing does not tie up credit. We'd love to go to work for you. Happy holidays from Roger, Troy, and Dale, and we wish you and your family the best and look forward to working with you next year.
Older farmers remember the 1980s farm crisis, while younger ones can barely imagine what it was like. But today's themes are eerily familiar. A dramatic rise in farm equity, followed by shocking equity loss, disruptive trade policies, and rising costs. Nickel Pates has been covering the farm economy through it all and takes a look back in a series of special reports.
Throughout the 1980s, which was really a tough time for agriculture.
Jim Nichols was Minnesota's Ag Commissioner from 1983 to 91, and he knows calling it tough times may be an understatement. Poor conditions even led farmers to hold several tractorcades to call attention to their plight, including one to Washington, D.C.
We had 100,000 farmers in the state of Minnesota, and 1/3 of them were facing foreclosure, 33,000 farmers.
Under Nichols, the Minnesota Ag Department started a mediation program. When a banker sent out a foreclosure notice, he had to sit down with a farmer and a mediator from the Ag Department.
My phone averaged 1,000 phone calls a week when I was Ag Commissioner.
Nichols says 10,000 farmers went through the program, and it was largely successful.
We tried to do some things to get them through this financially, the mediation, eliminating judgments and stuff. And then we went to Washington to get a decent 85 farm bill.
The new CRP program took land out of production, reducing surpluses. Gradually, interest rates dropped and commodity prices rose, and the crisis eased. But for dairy farmers, the current situation may be as bad as it's ever been.
My God, This is where we were in the 1980s, and we went from 26,000 dairy farms in Minnesota to 4,000. Think what we have lost.
Farmers in crisis were grasping at anything that could help. So when a South Dakotan named Fred Hendrickson and partners in southwest Minnesota told them how much they could make growing Jerusalem artichokes, many jumped at the chance. Joseph Amato wrote a book about the Jerusalem artichoke scam. It ended up costing some upper Midwest farmers $25 to $30 million.
The whole thing smelled scam on a scale that was incredible. We had had nothing like this. In 18 months, they sold $30 million.
It was a total pyramid scheme, but it shows you what happened in the 80s. Farmers were desperate, and when you're desperate, you do foolish things.
In southwest Minnesota, this is Mikkel Pates for Ag Week.
Mikkel will have more on the 80s farm crisis, including the hope and hype of Jerusalem artichokes, in the next Ag Week magazine. New Energy Blue LLC is now just a few months away from finishing the engineering and permitting process on a $150 million plant that would turn wheat and corn field residue into ethanol for high-end renewable markets. The company expects to build on 30 acres inside a railroad loop near the Spirit Ag Energy corn ethanol plant at Spiritwood, North Dakota. CEO Thomas Corl says the plant could be open by 2021. They'll take wheat straw and corn stover and produce the lowest carbon fuel ethanol to blend with gasoline. The plant would produce about 16 million gallons of cellulosic ethanol per year.
It will be taking in about 33 tons an hour of biomass, wheat straw, and some campaigns with corn stover and probably barley straw. The uniqueness is that it gives them additional revenue for cover crop as well.
If completed as planned, the plant would produce about $110 million in revenue annually. Smithfield Foods is investing nearly $45 million in its Sioux Falls operations. The expansion includes renovation of their hog barn to allow better handling and receiving, plus a new high-speed bacon slicing unit. The move is designed to meet the growing demand for bacon in the U.S. and export demand for ground seasoned pork. Producers in the region are excited about the project.
We really are glad to see them putting money into the plant because we know that they're going to be here for a long time. And with anticipated expansion in South Dakota, we really like to have these plants nearby.
The company is also adding 70 new jobs to their 3,600-person payroll. Construction will be complete early in the fall of 2019. Still ahead on Ag Week TV, some expert advice on surviving tough times in ag, and later,
on a special Soil Health Minute, we visit with cover crop pioneer Steve Groff.
Aspire is a premium delivery of boron. It's a potash source that has two forms of boron in it. One form of boron is available early in the crop needs, and then we have another form of boron that's more of a slow release. So throughout the whole growth stage or a cycle of a crop, you need to teaspoon feed that crop, especially with these micronutrients. If you need to learn more about boron, what does boron do within the plant? So we have aspireboron.com. There's also cropnutrition.com.
For corn and soybean farmers, it's been a challenging year. So join us as we look towards the future and make sense of international trade at the second annual Northern Corn and Soybean Expo, featuring speakers Mark Mayfield and Chip Flory, with breakout sessions, free breakfast, lunch, and a large corn and soybean trade show. You don't want to miss the second annual Corn and Soybean Expo, Tuesday, February 12th at the Fargo Dome.
Martinson Ag Risk Management offers a variety of crop marketing and crop insurance packages to our customers. With over 40 years of experience, our dedicated staff works hard to ensure you get the best advice on crop insurance, marketing, and risk management. Contact Randy or any of the staff at Martinson Ag Risk Management today at 701-205-4200 or visit us online at martinsonag.com.
Make sure your farm equipment is season ready with an uptime inspection from your Titan Machinery service professionals. Titan Machinery's team of Case IH factory-trained service technicians has the knowledge and experience to find, correct, and prevent mechanical issues that could shut you down during the season. Your planting and harvest windows are short. For genuine Case IH parts and service, schedule an off-season uptime inspection at Titan Machinery today. Titan Machinery, your local Case IH dealer.
When harvest comes around, time is precious and you don't have a moment to waste. Northstar Ag offers the Lofness GrainLogix grain bag loader to deliver versatile grain storage performance load after load. Lofness's user-friendly grain baggers are easy to load and unload, perfect to get your harvest in the bag. Northstar Ag also sells a variety of Valmar spreaders, the leader in air boom delivery, and is a full-service Meridian hopper bin dealer. Visit NorthstarAg.com to see our complete new and used equipment inventory or give us a call.
Resilience is the ability to bounce forward from adversity, not back. That's the definition from the man who calls himself the Resilience Whisperer. Dennis Hoiberg came from Melbourne, Australia to speak at the Prairie Grains Conference in Grand Forks. He says farmers like to think they're resilient, but in reality, they're stubborn, a trait that can work against them in tough times. Hoiberg says rather than bouncing back from problems, farmers need to apply the lessons of change to move forward.
It's also getting people to focus on what they can control and be proactive about it, not to be reactive. And so make sure you surround yourself with good people. Set realistic expectations. Don't overthink and just do. Just do. And don't compare yourself with other people. You can only focus on what you can control, not what other people are doing. What I notice in agriculture is because we get so invested in the crops or so invested in the cattle, we start to focus more on the business than we do ourselves. So a fundamental thing is about understanding how to look after yourself.
Hoiberg recommends the HOPE approach to building and maintaining resiliency: habit, optimism, plan, and enacting. The 2018 harvest is still not wrapped up across parts of the region. In northeast Nebraska, rain and snow have made for one of the latest harvests in many years. Nick Wagner says some farmers are still combining.
We have some customers that just are down to their last quarter or two of corn, and actually I have one that got his corn out and he still has some beans left in the field. So yeah, it was a different year.
Despite the challenges, soybean yields were well above last year. However, corn yield averages may be below 2017.
The corn run around 160 to 220, and soybeans run in the 60s and short 70s. So the soybeans are actually better than the corn.
He says corn yields were down due to hail and green snap. And here's John with our agri-weather outlook.
For much of the fall season, we've been talking about El Nino and how, at least in the last few weeks, it has brought fairly mild conditions to the northern plains, distinctly not a hard winter. But now we're in for a bit of a switch. A major pattern change is taking place. We are going to be experiencing much colder weather for the rest of December and probably into January, and there's a potential large storm. So do we still have El Nino? Absolutely. El Nino does not dominate the pattern all winter long. It simply makes its presence felt from time to time. Jet streams have been dropping a bit southward, and the big story this week is as this jet stream consolidates into one, we've got a pretty good chance of a snow system moving out. Looks like it may send out some feelers maybe around Christmas or so. Not exactly sure where theirs are going to go, but as this main trough does its digging, sometime around the middle to latter part of the week, a major rain snow system will likely move northward, and the northern plains are likely to be in line. Don't know the exact track, of course, yet. Could be a major storm. There will be rain on the warm side of that, and then snows will settle into the Rocky Mountains and then just kind of sit there. The weather pattern will actually go fairly dry after the major storm. As we translate into the first week of the new year, pattern still looks pretty dry in the middle. Because of the jet stream troughing, it will also be relatively cold. Speaking of that, let's check that. So here we go. We've been a little cooler of late. The cold weather, though, beginning to gather to our north. And as the storm takes shape, we'll watch that cold weather get pulled in on the backside of it, with even some sub-zero weather getting a little bit close and maybe dipping into parts of the northern plains. By the end of this week and the start of the new year, there will be some fairly cold weather around. So it does look like we are going to experience some snow and some fairly cold weather over much of the next couple of weeks. The cold will likely linger into January.
Steffes. We have representatives everywhere. Through North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, and Minnesota, we can find a buyer for what you are selling. We know how to market your farmland or equipment. Give us a call. We'll sit down and tell you all about the Steffes way.
Add more bushels to your hopper and money to your pocket by harnessing the power of air with Crary wind systems. Whether your beans are chest high or barely off the ground, Crary offers two solutions that add a constant stream of high-velocity air to quickly feed crop back to the auger, eliminating bunching, reducing shatter loss, and increasing your ground speed. Don't let crop conditions dictate your yield. Check out the Crary Air Reel or Crary Wind System today.
Nothing holds more promise than a seed. And when it comes from Peterson Farm Seed, it's backed with a promise from us. We'll sell no seed we wouldn't be happy to plant on our own farm, so that growers like Mark can keep a promise of his own, to teach his kids how to care for the land, their family, and their community, and build a future that extends generations. Grow your promise. Grow Peterson Farm Seed.
Mayo Manufacturing, your Red River Valley source for Batco. Mayo Manufacturing, your Red River Valley Batco dealer.
The Ag Week Soil Health Minute is sponsored by the North Dakota Corn Council and the North Dakota Soybean Council.
In this special edition of the Soil Health Minute from the Conservation Tillage Conference in Fargo, Abby Wick sat down with a cover crop innovator to talk about how cover crops are being used globally and can be applied regionally.
We've brought in a special guest to North Dakota, Steve Groff of Cover Crop Coaching. And Steve, you're a farmer and you've also traveled the world talking about cover crops with farmers everywhere.
Yeah, it's something that has been really fascinating for me because what I've learned in my farm in Pennsylvania, what I see around the U.S. and around the world, is there's a lot of similarities in the whole movement, if you will, of soil health and cover crops. Now, there's also a lot of differences, and that's why we have meetings to get together like this to try to figure out how to apply those basic principles that we know that are worldwide, but to apply them in a local area.
So what is your main message when it comes to those basic principles on getting farmers started with cover crops or using them effectively?
I keep it pretty simple. I just try to encourage farmers wherever they're at to use a little less tillage and a few more cover crops. But it's all underlaid with trying to increase your diversity of species, which can involve both your cash crops and your cover crops.
I like when you talked about how you include your cash crops as part of your diversity.
And when you're thinking diversity, the soil doesn't know the difference between a cash crop and a cover crop. Basically, the biology within the soil is going to respond to diversity. So if you can expand that, and I like to challenge farmers that you got to think a little bit beyond corn and soybeans if you want some of these results that we're talking about. So wherever you're at, can you start with a small grain maybe, which opens you up then to a multi-species cover crop.
One of your tips was to manage a cover crop like a cash crop.
You have to have that mindset in order to be successful, that you treat the cover crops the same way you treat your cash crops. Plant them on time. Use the right species. Have the right planting equipment. Same things you think through your mind for growing your cash crops.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being here and for being part of this special segment of the Soil Health Minute.
You're quite welcome. My pleasure.
Does your holiday menu include beef? Ahead on AgweekTV, we'll have some expert tips on cooking the perfect roast.
This is Dennis Beliski reminding you we do auctions and we do them well. You've built your operation with hard work, and when it's time to sell, all or part, you deserve the best. Details from repairs and preparation to promotion and settlements are not routine. Chances are you'll only do this once, so we'll tailor an auction just for you and get it done right. On site at your farm or added to one of our highly successful Alaris Center auctions, we have the skill, reputation, and integrity to meet your needs with best-in-class commitment and quality service. Find us at resourceauction.com or call 701-757-4015.
Upgrade your trailer to electric with the Rolltech electric system from AgriCover. Strong, flexible pivot arms and motor mount rotate and telescope, allowing the roll tube to rise and flex over heaped loads. The positive automatic lock is impossible to back off to control the flow of grain. This integrated system uses one wireless remote to operate up to 10 tarps and hoppers, keeping your driver out of the dust, rain, and harm's way. See the Rolltech system in action at an AgriCover dealer near you.
Advanced Grain Handling is your regional dealer for grain handler dryers, bins, and accessories. With Grain Handler's continuous mixed flow drying systems, you're capable of high levels of grain dryer efficiency on all types of grain, including seed grain. Advanced Grain Handling also carries West Steel's quality stainless steel products for on-farm and commercial grain storage solutions. Advanced Grain Handling has licensed and trained service techs and a licensed electrical shop. Get a hold of Chad Kylo to find the perfect solution for your farm.
Big Boy Toys.
Attend the region's premier ag technology event, the 2019 Precision Ag Summit, January 21st and 22nd at the North Dakota Farmers Union Conference Center in Jamestown. You'll learn about the current trends of precision agriculture, technological applications, and demonstrations for successful implementation. Hear from industry experts, producers, and more. Exhibitor space and sponsorship opportunities are still available. Visit precisionagriculturesummit.com for more information or to register for the 2019 Precision Agricultural Summit.
The holidays are a time for family and food, and what's a better Christmas or New Year's entree than beef? However, cooking that perfect prime rib or holiday roast can be intimidating. So I got some tips from the experts at the South Dakota Beef Industry Council. Beef, it's what's for the holidays, but how do you select and cook beef to perfection? First, pick a beef roast from one of the many cuts that comes from the loin or rib section.
And those are going to be your more tender cuts that are going to yield best from dry heat or roasting in the oven.
Those include ribeye, tenderloin, and strip loin roasts, or more economical cuts include...
We have an eye around, but also like a sirloin cap or culotte or even a tri-tip roast.
She says if you call ahead to your meat department, those roasts can be cut to any size.
A general rule of thumb is about 6 ounces of cooked product per person. For example, if you had a family of 4, you would want at least 1.5 pounds of roast.
Cooking is simple, using a roasting pan with a rack and a meat thermometer to get the desired doneness.
End point is 145 degrees Fahrenheit, but removing that roast about 5 to 10 degrees prior to getting to that and letting it rest for about 15 minutes, and then always carving against the grain, not with the muscle fibers against it.
For more tips and recipes, go to beefitswhatsfordinner.com. Thanks for watching this week's edition of AgweekTV. Remember, for all your ag news, go to agweek.com or download the AgWeek app. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. We'll see you next week.